And yes, it's time now to move on to the third and final panel discussion for the day. And as I mentioned, the topic is Will AI Take Over the Schools? Debunking Myths and Redefining Education. And it gives me immense pleasure to introduce the panelists to you. The first one is Dr. Seema Saini, CEO and Principal, NL Dalmia Educational Society. She is also the moderator for this panel discussion. And before she joins us, I would like to give a brief introduction of Dr. Seema Saini. She heads the K-12 ICSE school as the principal and brings an extensive experience of 30 years in the field of education. She has been awarded with the prestigious De Rosio Award for her outstanding role in the field of education and human enrichment by the Council of Indian Schools Certificate, New Delhi. She is also an honorary member of the National Advisory Council of the SME Chamber of India. With a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome on stage Dr. Seema Saini. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am. Our next panelist is Ms. Parveen Shaikh, Principal, the Somaiya School. Ms. Parveen Shaikh has been an established professional in the field of education and child development for over 2 decades. Her continued interest and passion led her to constantly innovate and conceptualize ideas for preschool, primary, and secondary school learning. Her expertise as a mentor encompasses designing developmentally appropriate curriculum, creative and effective classroom pedagogy, and design layouts. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am. Our next panelist is Ms. Sunita George, Principal, Bombay Scottish School. A versatile educator, Mrs. Sunita George is the Principal of Bombay Scottish School, an institution that is more than 172 years old. The school ensures that young learners not only know how to count, but are also aware of what counts. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am. Our next panelist is Debika Chatterji, Director Principal, JBCN International School. With over 20 years of experience in the field of education, having taught in various reputed Cambridge, IB, ISC and ICSE schools in India and abroad, Mrs. Debika Chatterji has managed various portfolios during her journey as an educationist and currently helms the Borivali branch of JBCN International School as Director Principal. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am. And last but not the least is Ms. Priya Anand, Head of School, Mount Litera School. Priya Anand has been in the field of education for 26 years and has held many key positions during her career. Currently, she is the Head of School at Mount Litera School International, Mumbai. She is an IBEN member and holds many positions such as IBTP Program Leader, Evaluation Leader, Consultant, Examiner, DP/CP School Visit Member, Application Reader and a Workshop Leader. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am.
I think we can move one step ahead. Yeah, I think we will go.
All right. Let us have a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for all the panelists on stage.
Very good afternoon. Can we take over?
Saini, to please take forward the panel discussion.
Thank you. Very good afternoon, all of you. A pleasure to be here amongst you all. Though after the awards, having a panel discussion is more of, while you break in for tea, I think this is a good time. And we have just 30 minutes with us. But quickly, it would be a nice opportunity for us to connect as educators, to understand better how the changing times are affecting us in education. And how is it affecting us? And also, how can we bring about this kind of transformation in our schools? So the topic is very interesting. Will AI take over the schools? And let's debunk some myths. And how is it redefining education? We understand very well that change is the only constant. And technology has seen a huge transformation, not as much as in 100 years behind us as we see now in these 10, 20 years. From the onset of internet in the 90s and Google being your go-to tool, to now in 2023, you suddenly hear of ChatGPT and you hear of various versions of ChatGPT. And then you wonder, oh, this is all artificial intelligence, this is machine learning. And how is it affecting and impacting our students, our schools, our classrooms, our teaching learning process? And that's where I think we can all four of us have a little chat on this chat, not just ChatGPT, but to understand how AI is impacting us and how much have we ended up using it. Like, I just talking to Parveen, I realized, she said we've been using it in various ways without knowing this is AI, like being data driven, analyzing the data that is there. So let me open it out to you all and have a initial thought on each one of you on what is the current role of AI in education and how has it evolved in recent years for us. So we can begin with you, Parveen, and then go on and each one take this question.
So, good evening, everybody. I'm, as an educator, very excited about the prospect that AI offers. So I won't say I've explored completely, but I see a lot of possibilities in the field of education, and we are at the cusp of revolution. Something that's going to unfold which we are not aware about. So I see lots of possibilities. I look at AI as a tool to assist and augment teachers. We will all agree that teachers are overburdened. Burnout is true. Teachers are undergoing burnout. We don't want to talk about it, but that's the truth. We want them to implement NEP, we want them to implement everything, but we are not providing them any guidance and assistance. I look at AI as a teacher's private assistant, as an intern who's at the back and call of the teacher to do the first draft of everything and support teacher. So yes, I'm looking forward to using AI in education because it's like a second brain that you carry in your pocket. Imagine if 20 years back I had told you that 20 years later you will be able to carry a second brain in your pocket. Today it's a reality. We are carrying a smartphone with AI, it's a second brain. So educators, I would suggest don't be afraid of AI. AI is here to assist us, to augment our strengths and support us. Let's look at it with this lens. And when we look at AI with this lens, I think we will only look at possibilities. Many, many possibilities, yeah, in the future.
Thank you, Parveen. Sunita, what is your take on this?
So the topic says that will AI replace or take over schools? So AI has made a lot of stride in education in the last few years, but it is not here to replace the teachers, but it is here to enhance the learning experience. How do I know this? Because ChatGPT told me this. So when I was coming, I said, let me see what ChatGPT talks about AI. Last year in November, we had this whole buzz about ChatGPT, OpenAI, and I think by this January, everybody, the major conversation that all of us were having was about ChatGPT. How will assessments happen? How will we know that the essays are written by students or it is by ChatGPT? So the point I'm trying to make is that ChatGPT is here to stay, OpenAI is here to stay, and the only way that we can leverage it is by understanding how it works. So a lot of universities, in fact, globally have trying to approach this whole aspect with a lot of fear. It's exactly the way probably when calculators came in or when internet came in, we had similar fears. But when we access this from a fear platform, we're not able to enjoy the benefits of that. Imagine if you're banning ChatGPT, if you're not using these kind of OpenAI, not just ChatGPT, but there are a lot of language models which are there. If we don't use it, don't allow our students to use it, then we are preparing them for a world where all these things will be accessible. And one thing is given that all our students are using ChatGPT and are using other AI platforms. So I think it's very important for us to use this. Also in few years, I mean, already it is happening, Google and Microsoft are changing their traditional search platforms and making it more, based on generative intelligence. So I think that is where we are heading. Hence, it is very important to embrace this. There are, of course, challenges, there are fears. We all are aware today at what artificial intelligence has done to the world. We're becoming more narrow in our perspective because we're all living in filter bubbles. Today, if I search for something, I search for vegetarian recipes, I get vegan options. It only goes out to say that how curated information we are receiving, and we are depending on that information, because of which the world is becoming a more narrow space. Hence, it is important that we train our children to use ChatGPT and other AI platforms, and we teach them or train them or allow them to explore them and train them on how to get authentic information, how to ensure that they are, what are the prompts that they should use to get the right kind of information, how to ensure and how to be aware about the information that you're getting. So this is something that I believe in, and I think the future is there and we just can't avoid it. So it's better that we all gear up and equip ourselves. Thank you.
So Sunita, since you just spoke of ChatGPT, then won't it raise ethical questions on, you're going to teach them how to use ChatGPT or to use the prompts more effectively. How ethical would it be if the students just, I mean, we don't want to make it a copy-paste generation, right?
Yeah.
So then how do you think, how ethical will that be? And how would you tackle that, or say, how would the risk mitigation here happen?
I think we have to understand the given here is that everybody is going to use ChatGPT or an OpenAI platform. So that if we operate from that point of view, that is given. So for example, if I have to ask a student to write an essay and I give it as a home assignment, I know that my students are going to use these tools, and there are also, and trust me, there is no tool currently in the market which can detect or plagiarism. There are, because ChatGPT themselves tried to have and they kind of called it off. So if you are smart, our children are smarter. Every day on Insta, I get reels giving me tips on how I can, outsmart the new ways of detecting OpenAI platforms. So we have to understand that they are always going to be ahead of us. So they are smarter than us. So the minute we operate from a platform that they are going to use these platforms and they're going to bring their essays, let's assume everybody is cheating and everybody gets their essays which are written by ChatGPTs. A good idea would be in the class to have a discussion about how could you make it better. So this is the essay which you've got it from ChatGPT or whatever platform you've used, or Google searched it. Now how can you improve on it? Can you critique it? Can you make it better? So, the entire base from which we are operating has to change. Our assessments have to change. So that is how we can.
So I think this brings to light the professional development or the teacher development here. So how do we bring in or enhance critical thinking or problem solving skills using the ChatGPT is how I would summarize what has been said. And of course, ethically, one has to also start teaching children to reference the things they use. So as long as they give the right references, as long as they give the right, the citations are there, that they have taken it from here, I think then the value of ethics also comes in. And that is also, can be taught through these modes that we take. So, ma'am, Debika ma'am, how do you think your school is harnessing AI to enhance learning experiences with children? In what way do you think artificial intelligence can harness or enhance learning possibilities?
Many, many different ways. Many different ways. We are living in exciting times, and the times are especially exciting because now we have to understand that whatever we did till now will not help us in the future. Like Sunita said, we need to bring it out in the open. We need to acknowledge it and say that yes, we are using ChatGPT. If you have taken help while preparing a question paper and the teacher says, I did it by using ChatGPT, the professional development takes them forward from there. That ChatGPT is less than 1 year old. It's going to make mistakes at the moment. However, AI is generative and iterative in nature. They will get better. The only problem is that AI will only know what is already out there. If it is out there available to them, they will be able to copy those ideas. For us human beings, copying is not the only option. We have the other areas. We have Bloom that takes us to the next level, the higher level. ChatGPT will help us still a certain level, but if we want to go beyond that, human intelligence, creativity will definitely work. And our professional development has to focus on that. We have to ensure that what we do with AI doesn't become a teacher or AI, it becomes an and question. How do we go ahead together so that the world of teaching and learning becomes a better place for our students? The biggest thing to address here is the way we assess, the way we judge learning.
Absolutely. Very well put up and very correctly said. I mean, at one time it was very exciting to see that, a robot can come up as a teacher in the class, and there were some schools in Bangalore which did that, and it was very exciting to see that. Some of them were, would they replace teachers, which we all became very confident that can never happen. Because teachers would, that personalized touch, that human touch would be there. But yes, but without this AI also it's very difficult to function. How do you bring, we've always been talking of flipped classrooms and blended learning. All of that is not possible without AI. We have been using it, whether to make it adaptive, to get immediate feedback. There's so many possible ways that we do it. So Priya ma'am here, how would you put it across to your teachers, or what role do you think your teachers' professional development will play in integrating these AI tools that I just spoke about effectively in the classroom?
Good evening, everyone. I think AI is here to stay, and we need to embrace that. We can't run away from that. And rightly, like you mentioned earlier, teacher professional development is really important, because they are the ones who are going to take it forward and teach students the ethical and responsible use of AI. And that's something that's really important. So like how we have done is, like I just heard another panelist mentioning that we can't detect AI, but no, we can detect AI. There is a tool called Turnitin now, which we have recently purchased, which has an AI detecting software. So students cannot run away from copying, and it identifies ghostwriting and any other open AI that students pick. So again, how we teach and train our students the ethical and responsible use of using AI is something that's really important for teachers. And like again, what she had mentioned, that when you get the essay written by a ChatGPT, we can ask students to use that same essay, and how, like you said, how do you make it better, critique it. So that's what teachers have been doing now, because they know. And this is another thing which we've noticed, AI from ChatGPT, if we've got 5 students copying from it, there are some lines that repeats throughout. So it's easily identifiable that they have picked, because even ChatGPT is making a lot of mistakes. We've seen that, so it's not accurate.
So you have the version 3.0 coming in as well.
Yes, there are
Since November 2022 to 23 November, you're already seeing 3 versions, right? So a lot of strides have been taken, without a doubt.
True.
And not just in ChatGPT. Rather, we've been talking about how AI...
True, I feel AI is also enhanced learning for students when we have to identify students with learning difficulties. Early intervention is really easy to detect using the AI. So I think there are its own positive points that helps, but I think we need to embrace it, because that's something we have to live with.
So I think before COVID, like AD and BC, before COVID and after COVID, AC and BC, right? So before COVID, it was You had the blackboard replaced by a smart board, and you were very gung-ho about technology is there in school, and we are a smart school, and we've been making these huge strides. But essentially, what were we doing? We were just using the whiteboard instead of the blackboard. That's how it was working. Post-COVID, teachers have assumed that, internalized that to the extent that it is now a medium of instruction using technology. Is not just a tool to be used, but it's a medium of instruction. How they're blending it into education. And the benefits that we can see are multiple. So whether it's personalized learning, so which you just highlighted, special difficulty that children encounter, and it can help detect that. So technology or AI in elementary education has a whole different outlook, or I would say, for us to take. You can personalize learning. When you look at secondary education, how those resources get enhanced, because it prepares you not just for college, but it enables you in many other ways. Higher education, it enables research, and it takes you further on. Adult education, it helps in reskilling. So AI across the spectrum is going to be useful. How do you think it is helping schools in assessments? So Parveen, we could start from you, and then each one can put in there.
So I think we are already using AI for assessment. That is what most of the schools are doing already, because it gives us the strengths of the students, weaknesses of the students, gaps in learning. It also helps us to personalize teaching learning to fill that gap, because we know differentiated teaching is not so easy. It's very difficult for a teacher in a class of 40 or 45, sometimes even 60, to address the individual needs of students. But with the help of AI, when I get to know the specific areas, I can target and focus on that. Also, AI can assist us in helping students who are on the brink of dropout. We know there are schools where dropout rates are high, not necessarily private schools, maybe public schools where dropout rates are much higher. We can use AI to curb the dropout rate. Because if we identify these children who are on the curb of dropping out, we will identify with the help of AI what are the areas they are struggling with. I think we can target that area. Like how in medicine we have targeted medical treatment, likewise with the help of AI we can have targeted remediation of students who are lagging behind. See, lagging behind is only because as teachers we have not been able to identify the area where they are lagging behind. The minute we identify the area where they are lagging behind and focus our energies on that, I think that problem will be solved. So as a class you can find out what are the gaps, as an individual you can find out. Also, if there are children with difficulties, special needs, we can cater to those also with the help of AI. So I'm looking at AI very positively, and I think it is in our hands. Let me tell you, no technology is deterministic. A technology does not have a mind of its own. It is human created and it is going to be used by human. So it is in our hand how we use it. So the fear that it will take over only if we allow it to take over. And the teachers should not fear at all. You will be obsolete if you don't upskill yourself, reskill yourself, and change yourself with or without AI. So becoming obsolete, the only solution is upgrade yourself, whether with the understanding of AI or whether upgrading yourself in the field, just like that. So yeah, assessment definitely is the starting point, I would say. Yeah.
Sunita, what do you think about this instant feedback that during assessment, I'm sure AI tools are there?
I think Khan Academy is somebody which has been, I mean, they've been using artificial intelligence from a very long time. They've also come with Khan Migo, which is not available currently in India, but in US, which is a virtual tutor, one-to-one tutor, and I'm just waiting for it to come to India, because it will be a big help for teachers, especially where we are not able to reach out and have one-to-one tutoring done. I think what Parveen already mentioned about the planning and everything, what we do in our schools, for example, assessments, a lot of times, I have actually, I say why not use, so if you put up a topic, and you ask the AI to summarize it for you, it's so much more easier for you. If as a teacher I want to put some questions, I put the content and I ask them, give me MCQs, I can always improvise it. You know, I can always work on that. And it's only like Debika mentioned, it's only going to get better now. It's almost like it's a young kid right now, which is,
you know, once it grows, it's going to get smarter and smarter as it grows older. So we use a lot in terms of even setting question papers, in getting data-driven insights based on which we plan our lessons. A lot of it is happening, apart from Khan Academy, there are a lot of paid sources also which offer you diagnostic learning, and that is all based on artificial intelligence. So I think I personally believe that we have to use technology to free ourselves, our time, so that we can make teaching learning more humane. And I think that's where, you know, I feel AI will help us in future. And it will also probably bring in the much needed revolution in assessments across the world. So
Again, it brings me back to that topic. How do we get the teachers to really adopt? All these sound very idealistic at times. We want to do that in our classrooms. How do we make it a way of life for us in our schools? How do we, Debika, if you could throw some light on how do you motivate?
I think it has to start with us this time. It has to start with us. Recently, I decided to learn a new language, and I decided to learn it through artificial intelligence. So on my phone, I have Duolingo. I am learning German. And as I went through the process, I realized how wonderful if teachers start using it in their classrooms, because all the fun and games that we talk about during teaching and learning, me being in my gray-haired days, is finding so much joy in learning. Can you imagine what happens to a child in school when they go through the whole process? It's just that teachers have to figure out, if we continue to do more of what we have always done, it's not going to work. If we think about the roots of design thinking, they say that you put every idea that you have on the table and then figure out the ones that are not going to work anymore, and then you are left with the core, which is extremely creative, and we can do it. We as the human race can create artificial intelligence. We as the human race can figure out the next step needs to be very different from all the other steps we have taken so far. If teaching and learning becomes so joyful, the only problem that remains is cheating during assessment. We have to figure out a different way of assessing, because teaching and learning is actually meant to be the final step in itself. Teaching and learning is not meant for the sake of assessment. If we go back to that, I think
this
we
is
are
another debate, because I would look at it that the assessments, what do you think, Priya? Assessments do help in evaluating not just how much learning has happened, but also in, you know, your renewed vision on how do you need to go about it, what else can be done. That can also provide you a diagnostic tool, I believe.
Yeah, I think how we have benefited is data-driven insights. When we plan the assessments through AI, we've seen through the data how we can improve the assessments further. So we at least at my school, we see that our assessments, the quality of our assessments are becoming much better using the AI. It really helps the teachers. They have the assessment, they put the assessment and say, how do we improve this further? It gives them much more insights on these. So I think AI has really benefited, and the quality has really improved because of AI. I don't think it's copying is what we say when we ask teachers to develop something. They develop it and they can further enhance it through AI. I think we've just had 2 minutes is what they showed us.
True.
May I just add something here? So we had 2 questions with Open Door, which they just put it across a while ago. Now, if you go to ChatGPT and you type those questions, those are really creative questions, because like Debika mentioned or somebody else mentioned that it only has whatever was fed in it. I mean, so if you type those questions, because they are probably original questions and they're not there anywhere on internet, you don't get the answer. You get an explanation, and I did that while the session was going on. You get an explanation of exactly the points which probably Anish was mentioning. Anish was mentioning. but it doesn't give you a direct answer. So it assists you in a learning. So it also goes out to say that as teachers, we need to be more original, we need to be more creative. We can't have question papers with what, when, where, how. You know, we need to be really pick up case studies and have questions which are more original.
Sunita, there's another thing that there's a training on ChatGPT which says the prompts, the way you put
Prompt
the prompts
engineering,
there.
yes.
So the prompt engineers is now the new career again. So again, it's how you post your questions there, the answers are given. So I think they're training people for the prompts. So I'm sure with the prompts, everyone gets better.
I personally feel it's just exactly like the calculators came in and everybody said, oh my God, we're going to lose our ability to think and we are going to become dumb as a generation. I think we will leave more time for ourselves for more evolved thinking, because your mundane routine sentence formations probably would be done by an AI and probably it would become more common.
Absolutely. So it is, I've got a time's up cue right now, but just to wind up and to come to what you're saying, ChatGPT cannot be predictive. It cannot be judged. It cannot teach us to make our judgments or, to be able to judge things. Without the human intervention, it is impossible to proceed ahead. So as educators, as teachers, it is how do we groom or nurture this generation with that human touch? Somebody needs to lead the dance as well, like they say. You have to have that, who's the person running all this? So again, it is the human aspect. So without the human aspect, without the value element coming in, without the ethical element coming in, everything and anything, the way technology has taken over the world, it is beyond comprehension at times. Education is still behind, if you look at the various domains, education is still has not adopted AI as much as other domains have. So there is a long way to go, but I think the cognitive engagement of our children has got enhanced because of AI, because of the tools that are available, because of so many edtech players in the market as well. You have like getting into the diagnostic assessment, getting into evaluating students for improving and enhancing their academic progress, or as simple as the ability to think more and better, get engaged better in class, all of this comes in. So I would just say AI limits you only by your, how creative can you get is important. So AI will be as long as your creative
like Sir
can take you
Ken
ahead.
Robinson says,
There is
creativity
nothing
is
like
the
that.
new
Absolutely.
literacy.
And AI is more often, we've debunked myths over here rather. I feel it is about not just redefining education, it is empowering education.
We need to harness
in
the
a way,
tools of
harness it.
AI.
The fear is there. The fear is for those who want to hold on to the old.
Exactly.
It's not for
Very
those who
true.
want to explore the future.
Absolutely, well put up, Debika. So that summarizes everything. An open mind, ability to adapt, and I think just go there and use it and play with it like kids do. That curiosity as an element is extremely important in everything that we do. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure talking to you all on it.
Thank
and
you
I
to
think
the
there are
audience.
two ways
They waited
about
back.
it.
They did not go out for tea and coffee. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that was a wonderful panel discussion. And now I would request Mr. Anil Sharma to please join us on stage to felicitate the panelists. Let's have a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for all the panelists for such an insightful discussion.